Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into something super fascinating today. No spreadsheets, no dense academic papers. Instead, we're looking at one single, striking visual representation of modern status. You know those pictures you scroll past online, stopping just for a second? We're going to figure out exactly how they hack our subconscious. Our brains can process an image in just 13 milliseconds. So today, we're getting totally fluent in the visual vocabulary of success. Let's get right into it.
I want you to think about this for a second as we get started. What exactly makes a single image radiate absolute power, wealth, and modern luxury? When you see an ad, a movie poster, or maybe an influencer's post, your brain makes literally 1,000 split-second judgments about that person's status before you've even read a single word. How is that visual shorthand manipulating our perception? How are we being told exactly who is in charge? Okay, let's dive into this. Take a really good look at what we're forensically breaking down today. We've got a sharply dressed guy, a gleaming sports car, and this incredibly moody neon-lit city street. On the surface, sure, it's just a cool picture. But beneath that, every single pixel is working overtime to tell a very specific story about who this man is, what he controls, and where he sits in the social hierarchy. We're going to peel back the layers on this entire composition. Section 1. The Anatomy of Luxury. Macro and micro elements. Before we even really register the car or the city, our eyes go straight to the man. And that brings us to the concept of power dressing. Basically, this is the practice of dressing in a way that's explicitly meant to project status, confidence, and absolute authority, whether in a boardroom or a social setting. Look at our subject here. His outfit instantly communicates a very specific, top-tier level of wealth. We don't need a peek at his bank account, right? His wardrobe is already broadcasting it loud and clear.
To really decode what's going on here, we're splitting our analysis into 3 distinct layers of visual storytelling. First up, the subject, the man himself. Second, the machine, that absolute beast of a vehicle he's leaning against. And finally, the environment, the whole atmospheric world surrounding them. By looking at these 3 pillars separately, we'll see exactly how they stack up to create an undeniable aura of influence.
Section 2. Sartorial precision and power. Posture and presence.
Now, what's really interesting about this first pillar, the man, is the highly deliberate combination of his sartorial choices. Let's break it down. He's rocking a dark, impeccably tailored 3-piece suit. It fits flawlessly, giving him this sharp, inverted triangle silhouette that just oozes strength. Under that is a crisp white shirt, but notice the unbuttoned collar. Add in a precisely folded light pocket square for a little pop of contrast. And finally, this perfectly symmetrical hands-in-pockets stance. These aren't just clothes, folks. This is armor engineered for the modern world.
That unbuttoned collar and those hands in the pockets are hugely important. It signals what we call calculated nonchalance. I mean, he's in a highly formal 3-piece suit, but he completely ditches the restrictive tie. It's a huge flex. It signifies a modern, off-the-clock power. He's completely in control, yet completely relaxed. He doesn't have to play by the stuffy rules of the boardroom, because visually speaking, he owns the boardroom. Plus, not being choked by a silk tie just looks way cooler. It's effortless dominance.
And notice how perfectly centered he is. Look at how his wide, symmetrical stance deliberately mirrors the width of the car behind him. By shoving his hands in his pockets, his elbows flare out just a bit, which actually makes his physical footprint wider and way more imposing. He is literally claiming space in the frame. And he is entirely unfazed that we're watching.
Section 3. Aggressive automotive design language. Predatory mechanics.
Let's move from the man to the sleek mechanical beast lurking right over his shoulders. Why does this car feel so incredibly intimidating? Well, it all comes down to predatory design. This is automotive styling that intentionally mimics biological predators, think sharks or big jungle cats, to project speed, aggression, and total road dominance. Designers literally study the faces of predators to engineer front fascias that trigger a deep subconscious sense of respect and maybe even a little fear in other drivers.
So the crucial point is how this specific ride uses those predatory tricks to immediate effect. Check out those massive, dark kidney-style front grills. They look exactly like flared nostrils or a gaping jaw. Then you've got those illuminated angular LED headlights that squint sharply, almost like the narrowed eyes of a hunting animal. Throw in those wide, flared lower air intakes and a remarkably low, road-hugging posture, and boom! Together, these features rapidly create a wide-jawed, muscular machine that demands your attention instantly.
When you put the man and the machine together, you realize something essential. The car is not just a prop. It is a mechanical extension of the subject's very posture. Both of them are projecting this wide, assertive, immovable presence on the street. The car amplifies the man's power, and his calm, chill demeanor grounds the car's aggressive energy, proving he is the absolute master of this mechanical beast.
Look at that contrast. The stark, icy white paint of the car provides a brilliant canvas that makes the dark grills and the piercing glow of those LED headlights absolutely pop. The lighting here is highly deliberate. It pulls your eyes straight to the center of the frame, locking you right onto the man and the imposing face of the vehicle backing him up.
Section 4. Neon Atmosphere and Ambience. The Urban Stage.
All right, stepping away from the foreground, let's look at the final layer of our puzzle, that gritty, atmospheric, urban environment. You'll notice the background is completely out of focus. That brings us to a photography technique called bokeh. It refers to the aesthetic quality of the blur in the out-of-focus parts of an image, and it is a fantastic way to isolate a subject. By blurring that chaotic city street into these soft, glowing shapes, it totally kills the visual noise. Your eye is forced to stay exactly where the creator wants it, on the guy in his car.
And this brilliantly illustrates the magic of color grading in visual storytelling. Look at the temperature clash here. On the central subjects, the man and the car, we have this stark, cool blue and white light. It feels clinical, pristine, and expensive. But in that blurred background, it's all warm, vibrant pink and red neon. That massive contrast in temperature literally pushes the subject forward, making him leap right out from the colorful, chaotic city behind him.
The whole environment relies on these specific atmospheric cues. We've got out-of-focus urban architecture that gives off the vibe of a massive, endless metropolis. The glowing red and pink neon signage injects this nocturnal, almost illicit energy. Add in the slick, wet pavement bouncing all that ambient light back like a giant mirror, and the result? A super moody, cinematic Twilight feel. It's a highly stylized, almost cyberpunk aesthetic that suggests wealth operating quietly in the shadows of the city.
Section 5. The Final Unified Aesthetic. Synthesizing the Impact.
Okay, now that we've broken it all down, here is the ultimate structural formula for engineering an image of absolute status. Step 1. The environment sets a cinematic, moody, high-contrast stage that isolates the subject from the everyday world. Step 2. The machine provides the raw, aggressive, mechanical power, acting as a massive force multiplier for the subject's wealth. Step 3. The subject centers the entire composition with refined, calculated human control. He tames the machine and owns the environment simply by standing there.
So when you look at this composition now, you aren't just seeing a guy with a nice car anymore, are you? You're spotting predatory design. You're noticing calculated nonchalance. You're seeing the bokeh effect and the crazy temperature contrast. You are seeing the complete visual narrative of modern status, all decoded by your newly trained, highly observant eye.
Which leaves us with this final, genuinely provocative thought to take away today. When we look at images like this in our daily lives, scrolling on our phones, passing billboards, are we actually looking at a portrait of a real person? Or are we consuming a carefully engineered product designed from the ground up solely to make us feel the weight of their visual status? The next time you find yourself impressed by a photo, ask yourself, what is the visual language actually trying to sell me? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep asking those questions, and I will catch you next time